Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Today we have Dragon Link Infinite Negates post Banlist. Deck is really consistent. It does often need multiple cards to execute, but usually it's not too bad. You have really consistent access to most of your playmakers. Rocket Tracer, for example, gets you free Savage Dragon at the end of the combo, and LP gives you access to Brotar, and Brotar realistically gives you access to all of your best cards. For example, something like a Collapse Serpent into Wyver Burster. That by itself is just two extenders, and getting these extra extenders is really just key in Dragon Link. So let's get to it then. Starting off, we have our starters: triple Safer, triple Black Metal. Pretty self-explanatory. Safer gets you access to Collapse Serpent and Wyver Burster, and Metal Dragon gets you access to your Darkness Metal Dragon. It's kind of funny how off your LP summon, you're actually going to be summoning the other starter. Well, you're not going to be summoning Safer, you're going to be summoning Brotar off your LP. But if you've already used your Collapse Serpent and Wyver Burster, you're going to be summoning the Black Metal Dragon instead and get access to Darkness Metal that way. Next up, we have our Rocket Engine. Starting off with the one copy of Absolute Rider. You usually send up Dragon Ravine to get Search even if you draw it plus Chaos Space, and it's basically an FDK. Absolute Rider just gets you easier access to cards like Recharger and Tracer, and having access to these cards is really important when you're trying to just be able to get out extra disruptions like IP Masquerena or Savage Dragon. Silver Rocket, really good card. It rips the card up your opponent's deck. You can occasionally pocket spec with a card like Unit Carrier, which is pretty cool. Rocket Tracer, you want to see this pretty often, as often as possible. Getting Savage Dragon is super good, having those extra negates, just really good. Next up, we have the Rocket Recharger. Rocket Recharger, pretty standard, just revives another dark monster from your graveyard, so you can realistically summon anything. It's safer if you pitched it off something like this. The combo is generally pretty hand heavy. You have to discard for cards like Dragon Ravine or a Brotar or a Chaos Space, anything on those lines. 1-for-1 also. There are lots of places where you do discard, so having that extra hand size is pretty good. Next up we have the Rocket Synchron. Rocket Synchron, usually it's a Halki Firebrax target. You don't go into Halki Firebrax too often directly. It kind of depends on your hand. If you're not really able to accommodate a direct Romulus, then you just go into Halki Firebrax instead. It really does depend on your hand. Next up, we have the Red MD, just for your Black Metal Dragon, and also just an extra extender. We have the Leviathan here, rips cards, extends, does everything. You're also able to grab it back with Safer if you haven't banished it, so that's another plus point. And Summon is not worth return, so you've got a bit more versatility there. Next up, we have Noctis Vision, probably the best extender. It chain blocks, it gets you extra hand size for your discards. It's generally just really good. Next up, we have the Collapse Serpent Wyver Burster, 2 extenders in one, really essential for the deck. Just being able to get those extenders is crucial. We have the one Crusader Draco. It's the Dragon extender, I guess, but that's realistically the only reason I play it. It's the only downside to playing it is it's not a Dark Dragon specifically, but there aren't too many interactions where the Dark Dragon clause does come up, so it should be pretty fine. Omni Dragon Brotar, it recurs itself, it's able to add cards from the back of your hand. Basically does a lot of things. We have the 1-for-1. It's generally just to get access to your Black Metal Dragon. Sometimes in pinch you might also get access to your Brotar. Next up, we have the Monster Reborn. Another extension is the deck's name. You have 20 something extenders, and those extenders are really what just make it possible to combo off. We have the Chaos Space. It's Chaos Space. It searches your double extender, and it doesn't even use your normal summon, which is the best part about it. We have the triple copies of Quick Launch. Quick Launch is it summons with Rocket from your deck. not even once per turn. What do you expect me to tell you about this? Triple Will IC Guard Dragon, perhaps the best extender. It's able to move your LP so you don't have to waste another extender, so also just Moss Reborn. So it is inherently a double extender since it does save you from using up one resource, which is really good. We have the Divine Lance. It equips Phalanx and then it summons it, obviously. Just your normal thing. Phalanx is a Garnet, but it's usually fine enough in 43 cards. We have the Boot Sector. Boot Sector summons some cards and you're able to get those cards in Striker Dragon. Dragon Ravine, you're generally going to pitch your Absoluter from your deck just to get those extra pluses. I don't think this will come up, but you can also send a Safer to grab back the Levianeer, which might come up in a Grindier game, who knows. But I personally haven't done that. And Dragon Ravine, generally just, your basic thing. Yeah, Avian Thunderbird, normal Infinigate stuff. Phalanx, just to be able to, it's a Garnet, you just run it to be, you just run it for Divine Lance, and keep in mind you will draw this about 10% of the time, unfortunately. Next we have our Side Frames, one driver Triple Gamma. It's kind of the best light, it's basically just the best light, hand drop. And the reason why we play it is whenever you discard, you're able to get fodder for cards like Binary. It gets you fodder for like Collapse or Wyver Burster, fodder for Chaos Space. It's that light typing does come up a good amount of time, so having that gamma is pretty good. Next for Archdrag, we run the one Savage Dragon for Negates. We have the Abramax with IP, basic just battle protection depending on your matchup. If you're not playing a control matchup, I definitely do recommend you go for this. But if you are up against a trappier matchup, you do want to go for the Savage Dragon so that you can stop them from going into higher chains. The Boreal Sword, just for the, I think you can go for the Boreal Sword. Just OTK out of nowhere. OTK is even better than Abramax. Appaloosa, broken card, does everything you need it to do. If you don't have enough extension to go into a good Simorg board, it mainly comes when you do not have access to Rocket Tracer. You generally go for the Appaloosa instead, and being able to go into Appaloosa, it's generally, it's a format Appaloosa, occasionally with the Heretic Seals too, I know. I usually just make it for the gates, way less for me. Next up we have the Simorg British Sovereignty, just summon the Avian. Halki Vibrax occasionally summons Rocket Synchron from your deck. Romulus is just being able to search either Dragon Ravine or Divine Lance depending on what you need. If you don't have access to Rocket Tracer, I would definitely recommend going for the Ravine. We have Unit Carrier equips Thunderbird. Reaper Docus changes cards to Wing Beast for your Smorg. IP just to go into Abramax for free. Abramax made with IP is practically Dragoon, except you can't destroy it with an access code or anything like that. Next we have a Heretic Seals of Heavenly Spirit. It's mainly just as a card to link off your LB or Pisty, but but if you're just playing through Handtraps, then Heretic Seal is generally just a really good thing to have. Next up we have the Guard Dragon Pisty, summons cards. Generally if you're banishing cards for Collapse Serpent or Wyver Burster, you're going to be summoning those cards since you do want to return those cards to the graveyard for further use. Something like Safert, for example. But sometimes you will also just revive your Rocket Tracer in order to get access to it. Next we have the Double Striker Dragon. This card is the best card in the deck. Searches Boot Sector, which is a double extender. It is able to pop your Pisty, which is actually one of its bigger functions, being able to pop Pisty and recover a Tracer. And since you don't even use Boot Sector that much, you're able to just summon that Tracer right back out. So the Striker Dragon, really good card. And finally, it's a good copy of LP. Usually you're going to be summoning the Brotar just to search an extra card. Occasionally you do summon the Black Metal Dragon too, in case you want to use your Collapse Serpent or Wyver Burster. And Black Metal Dragon is also a really good card to have, since now you don't have to necessarily pop it. It pops cards to Striker Dragon. You're just able to banish the card that locks you into Dragon, say it's Pisty or LP, and then you're able to summon it, and you're no longer locked in dragon. So you're able to summon something like a rocket tracer and go into infinite gates from there. So that is kind of the deck profile. No necessary combo tutorial is needed. It's really intuitive, the combo. You're just gonna link summon a bunch of cards and link summon enough to gain enough advantage, and yeet a some more unit carrier and all of that stuff on the board. It's pretty self-explanatory. There's no real need for me to give you a combo tutorial. So I guess before leaving, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell as it helps the channel. And I'll be seeing you next time then. Goodbye.